Then I'll say something about the 3 basic exercises in the basic seminar under the question that was just asked. What do they have to do with us calibrating ourselves? It is increasingly about you being able to distinguish your true nature from your very, very limited cultural form, and that you are increasingly realizing that you can in principle produce any cultural figure and then you play with the roles. But you would never say again, "That's just me." You would certainly not turn a limited cultural figure into a point of view or an operational situation that you now defend and justify as a permanent situation. And if you had the choice to be and tell hundreds of stories, you would no longer say, "I am just this one story." So it's simply a matter of you fighting to free yourself from infinite scope again. And you actually had that at any time. So you don't even need a near-death experience or a super meditation experience. It's just you at all times. And that is often the essence of mystic stories. Hey, dig behind your oven. There's the treasure right there. What are you looking for here on the bridge in Prague, right? What? You think you're a beggar? Take a look. You're sitting on a box. The treasure is already inside. This is how these stories often end. Please don't look for the extraordinary, but the extraordinary, what you are looking for is the natural, the normal. Unfortunately, you then recognize help who claim they are normal, they are crazy. And that is also in the parables of Jesus that he says, the treasure is in the field, or the kingdom of God. So this super happy state of consciousness is inconspicuous, but it is there at all times, inside you. As inconspicuous as a mustard seed, but if you have access to it, it has gigantic dimensions and consequences. So that's always something to try to make clear. Don't look for it outside, in distant lands. Don't look for it in the past, in paradise. Don't look for it in the future. That is always the now of the mystic. You are already everything, but you project, you run away, and so on. But this confusion is actually mainly because our minds are confused. The most important thing is to check all the concepts you have based on your perception. That is perhaps the essence. So before you fall into madness, it helps to first perceive it. Quite normal, like in psychoanalysis. So I'll take a concept like this when I say, after I've been insulted because I have the perception that mom, dad hates me. So you're a failure. You're diving for life like a porcupine for wiping your ass. You're going to jump out the window like my brother Paul. Unfortunately, that was everyday life in our parents' house. Me as a child, oh, hurts, yes, because to mom, dad hates me. This is a perception. What does she say, intellectual lady? Come with a concept. Dad actually loves you very much. He just can't show it to you. This is how crazy begins. What do psychologists do with such people, i.e. children, violent relationships or something like that, who say, as a specialist approach, we first validate the perception. So we get there, oh, my father actually loved me a lot. I just don't understand why I was so unhappy, yeah. Yes, and didn't you feel anything? Wasn't that perhaps pain back then? That's called perception because we have it. So you first get 3 exercises to move from concept to perception in the area of thinking, feeling, and wanting. So the concept is, story is your enemy. Concepts, systems of thought. And first go in such a way that, like a cult dropout or like a poor crazy child, so to speak, you first check everything based on your perception. But you have to activate it first. That's why you don't get a concept from me, or mindfulness or being present, but rather 3 exercises that are absolutely suitable for everyday use to unlock perception in your 3 most important areas. And then perception is often opposed to concept. And that's what I call in the basic seminar, become the eye of the storm. So listen to everything others tell you, stop reading anymore, stop looking outside even more. You are the treasure. But this could be a concept again, and that's why I want you to perceive it for yourself. This gigantic value, your own greatness. And you won't believe me anyway, and you'll think I'm telling you this. Maybe for customer loyalty or something. That's why, yes, I'm suspicious anyway when I say that mysticism is really easy once you understand where the mistake lies. So you get an exercise, some call it head, heart, and hand. So 3 exercises so that you can free your 3 lowest bodies. Body, soul, spirit. You could say to free the mind, so actually you are pure consciousness, pure perception. To free it from a lot of concepts, from a lot of undergrowth. That's why you get the mantra. Then to finally release your heart energy again and also come into felt contact with your greatness. You get something like that from the fairy tale of the Frog Prince, which is what Henry the Chariot breaks. No, those are just the iron bonds that were around a heart. So you get the beginning of a heart-opening exercise because the culture is stuffing you full of feelings of fighting for survival. This puts you in competition and comparison with each other at lightning speed, and in doing so, you rob yourself of your uniqueness. And then it's about right and wrong, and being right and who's wrong. It's all just competitive stuff. Our story is survival of the fittest and stuff like that. Much of nature is simply symbiotic and equilibrium. So there's nothing fighting each other to the death. And for the area of the will, you really get another perception exercise. Where do I function? So it serves the purpose of your will being cast, so to speak, into functioning, into disciplines, and so that you can release it again towards your own will. And you always use all 3 exercises at the beginning to distinguish between what is a concept and what is perception. So what have I been led to believe and what do I perceive instead? And that's a little bit on a smaller level. Maybe when Jesus says the scribes say, but I say to you, and that is what I have been told, it is claimed, but I perceive this and that. One is perhaps in agreement with society and its claims, and the other is truth. Truth here really has something to do with perception. If you can control your 3 lowest bodies, only then will you actually be autonomously self-sufficient. And self-sufficient so we don't have the mystic rebel now attacking the others or something like that, you can do that. But as a person who just allows himself to be completely peaceful and respects others as they are, this is the best thing, especially for them.